Friday, November 14th, 2025. That's the date. That's how it's going to go. I'm showing up, putting in the work, but I'm telling you now, I'm taking that L. We'll see what happens after, but that's...
Gervonta Davis has put on a lot of weight lately, and Jake Paul isn't letting it slide. He's already taking shots at Davis online, accusing him of being enhanced and even mocking his new look. In one of his recent reactions to Tank's training footage, Jake claimed that Davis looked unusually massive and said it raised red flags. Yeah.
Of Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis. That's the state of boxing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Let that sink in.
Jake
that's
Paul,
right
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. Yeah. 135 versus 200. That is so nuts.
They're all exhibition.
None of them are.
They're exhibition.
Jake Paul has been looking for any weakness in Tank's game, and lately he seems to have found one: the weight. According to ESPN, Gervonta is moving up nearly 60 pounds for this fight, which is huge for someone who usually fights at 135. This isn't just a weight jump, it's a complete rebuild of his body. And when you look at him now...
Boxers, right, I think that fight there, I think because of Tank's skill level, it's like, it makes it fair, even though he's not, the weight difference is crazy. Really and truly, bro, Jake Paul should not land a punch on Tank. This guy's one of the greatest.
Even during their face-off, Tank didn't look like the same lightweight who knocked out Ryan Garcia. His frame was thicker, his chest broader, and his neck packed with muscle. Even under that camo jacket, you could tell he'd bulked up. That image alone sparked debate online. Fans shared side-by-side photos on X, pointing out how the once lean power puncher now looks like he's been lifting heavy for months.
What do you think of Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis? I know on Instagram you called it a circus.
Yeah, boxing is slowly turning into the WWE. That's what I think.
Does Tank Davis have a chance?
Yes, but
yeah?
I don't even want to talk about it. Don't ask me questions like that again.
But that seems to be the point. This new version of Tank isn't built for looks. He's built to handle punishment. Facing a natural cruiserweight like Jake Paul means he has to absorb power from a much heavier puncher. Paul fights near 200 pounds and throws every punch with full force. Tank's plan has been to bulk up strategically, trading some speed for durability. Training footage supports that. His coach, Calvin Ford, and the rest of his team know that under exhibition rules, with no strict weight limits and heavier gloves, Tank can safely add muscle without worrying about weigh-in.
Concern is, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from Jake. He fights in 10s. Tank fighting 8s. So he loses.
Still, even with all that new size, Tank has been warned about Jake Paul's power by someone who's actually felt it. Former UFC champion Tyron Woodley. Woodley fought Jake twice in 2021, and their second fight ended with a brutal second-round knockout that ESPN named KO of the Year. Woodley knows firsthand how dangerous Jake's right hand can be, and his advice to Tank comes from experience.
133 pounds, a 5'7" wingspan. Tank fighting me would be a fairer matchup. We're basically the same size. And you wonder why fans think Jake's fights are rigged? Because every time we see some nonsense like this, it feels like WWE with boxing gloves. Here's the kicker though. Jake threatened to sue anyone who calls his fights rigged.
My advice to Tank? Take Jake seriously, Woodley told Fruity King. Even though Jake doesn't have Tank's amateur or pro background, he's motivated to prove people wrong. Woodley explained that Jake's power and size are real advantages. Tank's going up against someone who fights at 195 pounds, he added. It's a different level of power. You've got to get close to him, but Jake's reach gives him at least a 6-inch advantage. If you rush in recklessly, you might walk into a knockout punch. It's a warning Davis can't ignore. He might be one of boxing's most explosive finishers, but he's stepping into a size mismatch he's never faced before.
boxing has gone too far. Jake Paul is taking on Gervonta Tank Davis in an exhibition bout this November. The fight will be taking place in Atlanta between the cruiserweight and the 135-pounder, nearly a 100-pound difference between the two guys. This is absolutely insane. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below.
Even though Gervonta has clear knockout power in his natural division, moving up around 60 pounds changes everything. It's not just about strength, timing, movement, and punch impact all shift when your opponent is nearly 60 pounds heavier. That's why Tank's camp has focused heavily on strength and conditioning. His body looks completely different now. Thicker arms, broader shoulders, and a more solid frame. It's not for show, it's for survival. Under normal boxing rules, a fight between 135 and 195 pounds wouldn't even happen. But as an exhibition, there's no weight limit and no belts involved, allowing Davis to bulk up as much as needed to handle Jake's power.
He was talking about fighting Joshua, which is heavyweight, and now he's saying about fighting Tank. Nah, this can't be. It's Netflix as well. I need to go and do some checks and see if like the main pages have posted this, but Jake Paul's posted it. It says Friday, November 14th. It's in Atlanta.
Woodley's comments echo what many boxing analysts have been saying. Tank can't rely solely on explosiveness this time. Against a bigger man with longer reach, he'll need patience and precision. One reckless move could end the fight early, just like it did for Woodley. Still, not everyone thinks Jake Paul has a real chance. Champion Claressa Shields voiced her opinion, saying on $1 Million Worth of Game, "I think Shakur beats Gervonta Davis, and I used to think Devin Haney could too. But once Tank catches you, it's a long night. The only person I think can beat him is Shakur." Shields, a two-time Olympic gold medalist and undisputed champion in 3 divisions, clearly respects Davis, though she admits this fight might not look pretty.
He could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is, he's been boxing his whole life, been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's gonna be an issue or a problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision, or?
"Tank, you better whoop Jake or I'm really going to have a problem with you," Shields said. "No excuses. You shouldn't have signed the contract if you weren't ready." She predicted that while Tank will probably win, it won't be clean. Jake's going to put his weight on him, fight dirty, and make it ugly. I don't even know if Tank's punches will hurt Jake. He's just so big.
Good in this. I don't know how it is. It looks to me David and Goliath, but David got skill and Goliath doesn't. But I don't know how it's going to work out. But if for some reason it winds up being a really fun event and it has tons and tons of viewers, millions and millions and millions of viewers, when Gervonta Davis goes back.
And that's the big question everyone's asking. Can Gervonta's knockout power still work against someone this much larger? Davis is known for ending fights with one perfect punch, but doing that against a man 50, 60 pounds heavier is another story. Even with heavier gloves, Jake's natural bulk helps him absorb impact better. The fight has already stirred controversy. Recently, Jake Paul's promotion company, MVP Promotions, withdrew its event license application in Georgia. The Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission confirmed the decision, saying MVP likely realized the weight difference was simply too much to get sanctioned.
Warmed up, but this will certainly shut up a lot more people. Each fight has done that so far. Only 5 years as a pro, and feels like the last fight I had was the end of chapter 1. This is the beginning of chapter 2, and I'm only 28 years old. I have a lot more to prove, and once I beat this guy, more people will shut up. But at the end of the day, I'm really still just getting warmed up in the sport, and I'm going to show how.
That only fueled the criticism further. Boxing insiders have called the matchup dangerous and unnecessary, a spectacle rather than a fair fight. Jake has fought as heavy as 200 pounds, even edging into the heavyweight range during his exhibition with Mike Tyson last November. Meanwhile, Gervonta weighed just 135 in his last official bout. The contrast couldn't be bigger.
Bro, you can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them.
Will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were like to beat him or even like knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him. Bro, you can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them. It's the same way Roach feels Tank is the best option for him. Same way.
Still, the controversy is what makes this fight so intriguing. Despite the weight and reach gap, many still favor Davis because of his superior skill, speed, and ring IQ. He's sharper, more experienced, and hits with precision. For Tank, the challenge is surviving a bigger man's power. For Jake, it's proving that his strength can overcome elite technique. The outcome will depend on who adapts first, the smaller man adjusting to survive or the bigger man landing clean.
Paul versus Tank Davis, they just announced the fight. What's your instant reaction to that?
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab. Jake land one good punch on Tank.
Even WBC light heavyweight champion David Benavidez has weighed in. Though he doesn't entertain exhibitions himself, he admitted this one caught his attention. It's wild, Benavidez said. Jake's big, he's improving, but Tank's a killer. That sums up how most of the boxing world feels right now. Half of it thinks this fight should never happen. The other half can't wait to see how far Gervonta's aggression can carry him against a man nearly 70 pounds heavier.
Jake he ain't gonna fight back. He said, so I said, you gotta take him serious. You know what I'm saying? Because he had you on a hit list before this fight even happened. So his mental is on you. So you have to take him serious.